What's up guys, Jeff here, and something new just came in the mail that I'm pretty pumped on. What could it be? Boom, the new Flat Kick Foot Pad kit. So this is cool. When the GT came out, it had something that no other Onewheel has had, and it was something the community was asking for a lot, and that was concave foot pads, both front and back. So front concave has been sort of like the unicorn, the holy grail for Onewheel stuff, and then as soon as the GT came out, everyone was all pumped. They're like, yes, this is great. And then people actually stood on it and started riding it. And the big problem a lot of people have had with the concave on the GT is it's really sharp on the edges. It's kind of a funny feeling concave. It's rigid plastic, so it's not super comfortable, and it can also have some activation issues as well. So people have been now screaming for a flat foot pad, again, like we've had on every other model. So here we are, boom, here's the answer to it. So we're gonna unbox this guy today. We're gonna see how it sort of stacks up to the concave, if it's more comfortable, what the shaping is on it. We're gonna yank that grip tape off, see what the sensor looks like underneath, and get an idea of how it rolls. So let's unbox it, see what's up. Ooh, there we go. Cool, so it looks like we got this is a throwback sticker. I didn't even know that Future Motion still had any of these. This is sweet. This is the chicken riding the Onewheel. This came out like years ago, so awesome that we got one of those now. And we got some instructions. These appear to be the exact same instructions as the other one. Yeah, I don't think anything's changed on these instructions. It looks exactly like the same instructions as the regular foot pad kit. So cool, nothing different there. We got our hardware bag, which appears to be, yep, exactly the same as the other foot pad kit. And then here's the meat and potatoes we're going for. So one thing I'm a little bit bummed out about with the flat foot pad kit is that you do have to order it in a set. So you have to get both the front and the back. So let's say you've already got a love hump that you like in the back, or you've already got a cush wide, or you've already got an air pad, or you've already got a different rear foot pad. Well, now you still have to order this right here in this kit, which is the rear foot pad. So pulling this out, and here it is in all its glory, the flat foot pad. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it still does bank in. Okay, that was one thing that I was a little bit curious about. One of the things that I don't really love on the stock Future Motion foot pads on the GT as well as on the Pint models is that they actually go in, they kind of bevel in on the edges here all around. And so what that does effectively is it gives you a smaller square footage, or whatever you want to call it, a small area of real estate for your foot to sit on. So if it were to just come absolutely straight up, you'd have more room for your foot than if it's angled in, right? And then you've got, like on the wide models like the Cush Wide, it actually banks out and gives you more real estate. So I always prefer more real estate as opposed to less. So that's one thing that I wasn't a super big fan of. It does look like we got this cool little Onewheel logo on the corner here. I'm pretty sure that's not on the stock foot pads, is it, Julian? Do you remember ever seeing this?
I don't remember.
It's not there, so this is new. Okay, so we got a new little embossed logo in there that's pretty cool, just on the one corner, but here's the rear. So, let's see. Yeah, looking at it, I was thinking it might have had some flare on the bevel there to because it starts at that angle right there, so it matches up with the fender delete. I was thinking it may sort of shift to go more vertical here to give you more real estate, but it doesn't look like it does. So it still has, I don't want to call them sharp edges, because when you concave, it actually makes it even into a sharper edge. So, it doesn't have super beveled edges, but I see that being a lot more comfortable on your foot for sure than the concave if you have larger feet. Because when you have the concave and you have those larger feet, that sharp corner right there, if your foot hangs over it, it's constantly pushing into it, especially on your heel side. So this looks like it's definitely gonna be a little bit more comfortable, at least for me and people with larger feet, for sure. So that's the rear. You get the rear, even though you probably don't need it, but now you have a rear. So here we go. So let's go ahead and dive into the one that we're really looking forward to, and that's the front right here. So this is the front flat kick, no concave GT foot pad. All right. Okay, so it looks like exact same shape as the rear. No difference in the shape whatsoever. The only difference in the shape is gonna be this cutout for the light bar right here. Let's flip it over. And then on the back side, we've got a couple little different unique things just because the front fits over the controller instead of the battery box, so that's a little bit different. So the back's definitely different, but the top where your feet go is gonna be the same, so they're pretty much identical. We do, there we go. Man, get that out of the way. That is kind of heavier than expected, to be honest with you. I don't know, I think we're gonna pull the other ones off and weigh them for sure, but this one does feel a little bit heavier than expected, for sure. But yeah, same shape with the foot placement. Oh, I can tell you right now exactly what sensor's underneath here because I can see it from the corner because the grip tape doesn't cover it perfect, but it looks to me, without pulling the grip tape off, that it is the standard GT sensor under here. So they didn't go back to like an XR style sensor or anything. So that's interesting, but we're gonna find out because we're gonna peel that grip tape off and see exactly what's under there. I will notice that I'm kind of surprised they went with such a heavy kick on this because if you compare it to like an XR Sure Stance foot pad, which is considered a flat kick, no concave foot pad, it seems like there's a lot less kick on the nose and the tail on an XR Sure Stance. So yeah, it's significant kick on this thing. I thought they would have thinned it out a little bit, but yeah, it looks pretty comfy. I'm excited to get my feet on it, but first things first, we gotta peel the grip tape and check some stuff. Oh, here's something that we should do right now. We should figure out if the footprint of this is the same as the concave one. So, hey, Bodie's got our scale.
I have a scale.
Thank you, bud. So let's check them out side by side, because here's something that I was thinking right as soon as I picked this up, is that like this new flat kick foot pad seems thicker in the front. Seems like it almost has more kick in the front than the concave one. So let's check it out. Oh, I was totally right. Yeah, it's got way more kick. Yeah, like that's nearly double, damn near. It's at least like 30% bigger. So yeah, that's got way more kick to it. That's weird. That's crazy. Huh, I thought they would have just dropped the sides down on the concave and called it a day, but no, they went thicker. But yeah. Oh, interesting. So this is a stock grip tape. Well, it's not stock grip, it's TFL grip street. But this fits a stock GT concave front foot pad right here. So let's lay this over the top of this flat kick and see. Okay, it's almost exactly the same. There's really not a lot of difference there at all, honestly. That might be the same. Yeah, I think it's the same exact shape. Okay, well that's great news for everyone who makes grip tape or pro ride pads or foamies or whatever for the GT, is that you don't have to get a new die cut piece because looks like the stock concave totally just fits the flat kick. So something that's pretty curious for me, I originally thought when I picked up the whole flat foot pad kit box, I thought it felt pretty heavy. So I was curious, I wanna weigh this along with weighing just the regular stock concave foot pad and see if there's any sort of weight difference. So let's give this a shot here. First, let's go ahead and weigh the original stock one. So there's no changes to this. The only thing we did was switch the grip tape. That shouldn't affect the weight at all. But the stock Concave GT foot pad is 1 pound, 3.2 ounces. Pretty light. And let's go with the new flat kick. 1 pound, 9 ounces. So it looks like it's about 6 ounces heavier than the concave foot pad. So that's pretty interesting. I'd say that's probably due to that extra kick in the front. Yeah, that's really the big difference there, is that extra kick in the front. And also it looks like, oh, interesting. So if you look at the waffle pattern on this, it looks like the waffle pattern is actually tighter on this new flat kick than it is on the original stock concave foot pad. So you can see, for example, here there's like 3 squares above the piece that drops into the top of the controller module here. And over here there's only 2 squares. So it's definitely more rigid. It should be able to take more impact, but that's also gonna add to the weight of it as well. So, okay, so one thing I am a little bit curious about with this foot pad is how's the activation on it compared to the stock concave foot pad. So the stock concave, I thought the activation was really, really good pre-recall because they made it super sensitive. And then after the recall, they made it significantly less sensitive, which is for sure gonna reduce ghosting and probably drop it to almost 0. But it is gonna make activation a little more difficult. And I've found that the new post-recall front concave foot pads, I can sort of barely ride them. They're kind of like Pint foot pads for me, where I have a lot of trouble activating both of them. So typically what I'll do is I'll take that extra layer of plastic off, even though you shouldn't do that because it's super dangerous. I'll take that off and I'll posi it so it'll be a little bit easier for me to ride. But I am curious on this flat one. I think I might actually be getting better activation on this because you don't have that concave spot where you could have your foot not making contact with it. So let's throw this on a board really quick and try it out and see if it's got good activation. All right, we're on, and it looks like left side works, right side works. There we go. It seems like it's working pretty good with the activation, but hey, that was smooth. Okay. Had like one little miss there, but yeah, that's, dude, activation is so good on these things. That's solid. I don't even see, yeah, this specific one that I have from my giant sample size of data of 1 foot pad. This one works so much better than the, what have you tried, 5 or 6 of the other ones? Yeah, this one's fantastic. This is good. Yeah, I think that flat is what really helps it. And I can tell you just from like comfort level, this thing's really comfortable. Ugh. All right, let's pull that grip tape off and see what the sensor looks like underneath. I'm thinking just from looking at the corners here, it's gonna be the exact same stock GT sensor. I don't think it's any different, but I think having it on the flat heel to toe with no concave is what's gonna be super helpful. Okay, so one thing with the GT sensors though, with the XR, I'd usually start here and pull back. With the GT sensors being split on the corners, if you do that, you run a higher risk of shredding your sensor and peeling that up. So I like to start on the GTs down here by the fender delete and then pull back the opposite direction. Okay, so yeah, it is the exact same, no different whatsoever, stock GT sensor. So that's cool. It's the exact same sensor. So I know some folks were definitely curious on whether or not they'd go back to like an XR sensor. They did not. It is the GT sensor. So that just kind of, I mean, that kind of goes to show that maybe it's not the sensor itself that was causing the issues of ghosting or bad activation, but just sort of the platform that it was sitting on, right? How many layers of plastic are under this thing? Yep, look at that. So there's 1, and then 2, and then, oh, where's the 2? There's 2 and 3. There you go. Can you see that? You see the 3 layers? So yeah, there you go. So there's 3 layers on there. Sensor and 2 plastic. So you got the sensor layer, the 2 plastic. Okay, so it looks like they are sticking with the extra layer of plastic from the post-recall foot pads on there. And it seems like on this platform, on the flat kick, they do not make it way less sensitive. So if you guys are having issues with the post-recall foot pads where they're not activating as good as they were pre-recall, I think this is going to fix it up for you, no problem. I think you guys are gonna be super happy with these flat kick foot pads, at least the front. You know, some people like having a flat in the back. I don't really, I like a nice concave, so cush wide concave, that's my choice, it's super comfy. But the fronts, as far as a front option goes, I think I can officially say that the flat kick foot pad kit from Future Motion is by far the best front foot pad for the GT right now. It's really good. So that gets my stamp of approval for sure. It's a shame that you have to buy both foot pads and you can't just get the front. It's also kind of a shame that right now, while we're filming this video, you can't just buy the GT with these foot pads already installed on it. You have to buy it with the old concave ones and then buy those separate as an upgrade and then install them yourself. So hopefully they change that in the future. It would be nice to just get them straight from the factory. That would be awesome. But good job on the flat foot pad, Future Motion. You guys crushed it. It works great. It definitely makes the GT more enjoyable, more comfortable to ride, better activation. So home run. Good job, guys. Anyway, thanks for joining me, y'all. And I'll see you next time. Float on, my friends.
Nice.